Hello and welcome to Quiz Class. Today we have 100 questions on the 1950s. Let's take a look at our Quiz Class awards. Let us know how you rank in the comments at the end. We will be looking at 6 different categories: powerful people, engaging entertainment, precise past, simple science, sport, support, and tourism terrain. So let's begin with our first category of powerful people. For question number 1, who was the legendary fashion designer known for popularizing the new look in the 1950s? Coco Chanel, Yves Saint Laurent, or Christian Dior? Christian Dior. Which American actress became an international icon in the 50s, starring in films such as Gentlemen Prefer Blondes and Some Like It Hot? Audrey Hepburn, Grace Kelly, or Marilyn Monroe? Marilyn Monroe. Who was the legendary jazz musician known for his contributions to bebop and his innovative trump playing during the 50s? Miles Davis, Dizzy Gillespie, or Louis Armstrong? Miles Davis. Which American author wrote the influential novel On the Road, which became a defining work of the Beat generation in the 50s? Jack Kerouac, Allen Ginsberg, or William S. Burroughs? Jack Kerouac. Which American singer and actor became a cultural icon in the 50s with hits like Heartbreak Hotel and Jailhouse Rock? Frank Sinatra, Elvis Presley, or Chuck Berry? Elvis Presley. Who was the American civil rights activist known for her pivotal role in the Montgomery bus boycott in the 50s, sparking the civil rights movement? Rosa Parks, Harriet Tubman, or Coretta Scott King? Rosa Parks. Who was the Egyptian leader who nationalized the Suez Canal in 1956, leading to the Suez Crisis? Anwar Sadat, Hosni Mubarak, or Gamal Abdel Nasser? Gamal Abdel Nasser. Cheryl Crane was acquitted in 1958 for killing mobster Johnny Stompanato, who was abusing her mother, a well-known figure. Who was her mother? Lana Turner, Elizabeth Taylor, or Rita Hayworth? Lana Turner. Which director, born in Germany as Detlef, is best known for his acclaimed 1950s melodramas All That Heaven Allows, Imitation of Life, initially scorned as soap operas? Billy Wilder, Douglas Sirk, or Alfred Hitchcock? Douglas Sirk. Who was Gerda Taro's partner who died in Vietnam in 1954 after stepping on a landmine? Ansel Adams, Henry Cartier-Bresson, or Robert Capa? Robert Capa. Which Russian composer and pianist spent most of his career in obscurity due to conflicts with Stalin? Tchaikovsky, Sergei Rachmaninoff, or Dmitri Shostakovich. Rachmaninoff. The legendary yellow diamond was found in South Africa in 1877, and C.L. Tiffany purchased it a year later. Only 4 women have worn it. Mary Whitehouse, Lady Gaga, Beyonce, and which actress in 1961? Sophia Loren, Audrey Hepburn, or Brigitte Bardot? Audrey Hepburn. Which American writer born in 1937 achieved cult status due to the mystery surrounding his life? J.D. Salinger, Ernest Hemingway, or F. Scott Fitzgerald? J.D. Salinger. Who became the first Prime Minister of India in 1947 and continued to hold the office through the 50s? Indira Gandhi, Jawaharlal Nehru, or Mahatma Gandhi? Nehru. In 1952, Queen Elizabeth II became queen after the death of her father, King George VI. What was her age at the time? 25, 22, or 28? 25. Let's move to engaging entertainment. For question 16, who directed the classic 1957 film 12 Angry Men? Alfred Hitchcock, Sidney Lumet, or Billy Wilder? Sidney Lumet. Which TV sitcom set in the fictional town of Mayberry premiered in 1960? The Andy Griffith Show, Leave It to Beaver, or I Love Lucy? It is a depiction of a small town in America in the 50s. The Andy Griffith Show. Which American artist, a leading figure in the abstract expressionist movement, painted the famous artwork Number 1? Mark Rothko, William de Kooning, or Jackson Pollock? Jackson Pollock. In which film does Marlon Brando play the iconic role of Stanley Kowalski, a working-class man in New Orleans? A Streetcar Named Desire, On the Waterfront, or East of Eden? A Streetcar Named Desire. Bollywood has its headquarters in Mumbai, but in which Indian city is Tollywood based? Calcutta, Chennai, or Bengaluru? Kolkata. Handsome Serge from 1958 is commonly considered the first film of the French New Wave. Who directed it? Francois Truffaut, Claude Chabrol, or Jean-Luc Godard? Claude Chabrol. Today, a significant tourist attraction in Dublin, which theatre, founded in 1904, remained active despite losing its original building in a fire in 1951. Olympia, Abbey, or Gaiety Theatre? The Abbey Theatre. The inaugural Eurovision in 1956 hosted Belgium, France, Germany, Luxembourg, the Netherlands, Italy, and which other country? Spain, Switzerland, or Sweden? Switzerland. What resin was used for gramophone records before vinyl until 1950? It's also the name of a post-hardcore band from Chicago formed in 1992. Sultanas, Monaca, or Shellac? Shellac. What was founded in 1939 as Timely Comics and became known as Atlas Comics in the 50s? DC Comics, Marvel Comics, or Image Comics? Marvel Comics. Who was the actor in the 1952 American black and white western High Noon who won the Oscar for Best Actor for his role as the sheriff? Gary Cooper, John Wayne, or Clint Eastwood? Gary Cooper. In 1951, John Huston directed which movie starring Humphrey Bogart and Katharine Hepburn, who undertake an epic journey? The Maltese Falcon, The African Queen, or Casablanca? The African Queen. Only 2 documentaries have won the Palme d'Or. One is Fahrenheit 9/11 by Michael Moore. What is the title of the other from 1956 directed by Louis Malle and Jacques Cousteau? The Silent World, Man with a Movie Camera, or Bowling for Columbine? The Silent World. Which R&B soul group founded in 1953 has had over 60 singers? The Supremes, the Drifters, or the Temptations? They have entered the Vocal Group Hall of Fame twice. The Drifters. Which Italian director, known for violent spaghetti westerns like Navajo Joe and Django in the 1950s and 60s, later turned to zany comedies? Sergio Leone, Federico Fellini, or Sergio Corbucci? Sergio Corbucci. And let's move on to precise past. What was the name of the Egyptian revolutionary organization that carried out a coup in 1952, overthrowing Egypt's last king, Farouk I? Free Officers Movement, the National Liberation Front, or Arab Socialist Union? Free Officers Movement. In which Central American country in 1954, with the assistance of the US and some multinational companies, was the legitimate president Jacobo Arbenz Guzman overthrown? Honduras, Nicaragua, or Guatemala? Guatemala. What is the name of the winged horse from East Asian mythology, crucial in North Korea, where it inspired a 1950s social movement? Cholima, or Cholima, Pegasus, or Centaur? Cholima. Who was the first and last king of Libya who came to power after the 1951 unification and ruled until he was overthrown in 1969 by Muammar Gaddafi? King Hussein, King Abdullah, or King Idris? King Idris. On Christmas 1954, at age 25, he accidentally shot himself while playing with a revolver during a break from his own performance. Was it Ritchie Valens, Buddy Holly, or Johnny Ace? Johnny Ace. In 1952, which painter, annoyed by the blazing sun at a pool, decided to build his own at the Hotel Regina in Nice and created a collage about 16.5 meters long along the walls? Vincent van Gogh, Pablo Picasso, or Claude Monet? Pablo Picasso. Anne Desclose, a French writer, gained fame in the 50s with a controversial novel about a girl reduced to an object known by a single letter name. Which letter was it? A, O, or E? O. In 1953, which American composer drove through the streets of New York City with over 20 connected sheets of paper attached to his car, using tires soaked in black paint to create the artwork Automobile Tire Print? Steve Reich, Philip Glass, or John Cage? John Cage. What is the artistic name of the comedian celebrated as a pioneer of Mexican cinema for his distinctive linguistic humor? He earned a Golden Globe for portraying a passport out in Around the World in 80 Days. Cantinflas, Diego Rivera, or Pedro Infante? Cantinflas. In which city is the most famous architectural building by Jorn Utzon located, constructed from 1958 to 1973 and opened with a performance of Beethoven's Ninth Symphony? Copenhagen, Sydney, or Melbourne? Sydney. What was the name of the interdisciplinary experimental college founded by John Andrew Rice, modeled after the already closed Bauhaus? Black Mountain College, Stanford College, or Yale University? Black Mountain College. Who became the first leader of the People's Republic of China in 1949, shaping the geopolitics of the 50s? Chiang Kai-shek, Mao Zedong, or Kim Il-sung? Mao Zedong. What major event occurred in 1957, igniting the space race between the US and the USSR? The launch of Sputnik 1, the moon landing, or the first human in space? The launch of Sputnik 1. Which treaty, signed in 1951, established the European Coal and Steel Community? The Treaty of Rome, the Treaty of Paris, or the Treaty of Lisbon? The Treaty of Paris. In 1953, who became the first female to break the sound barrier? Amelia Earhart, Jacqueline Cochran, or Jerry Mock? Jacqueline Cochran. And let's move over to science. Who discovered the double helix structure of DNA in 1953? Francis Crick and James Watson, Rosalind Franklin, or Linus Pauling? Francis Crick and James Watson. What groundbreaking medical advancement was introduced in the 50s, revolutionizing surgery? Organ transplantation, laser surgery, or MRI? Organ transplantation. Who developed the first successful polio vaccine in the early 50s? Albert Sabin, Jonas Salk, or Edward Jenner? Jonas Salk. What major particle accelerator was completed in 1954, significantly advancing nuclear physics research? Fermilab, Brookhaven National Laboratory, or CERN? CERN. Which spacecraft launched in 1957 provided the first direct measurements of the Van Allen radiation belts around Earth? Explorer 1, Luna 1, or Vostok 1? Explorer 1. Who proposed the concept of artificial intelligence in the 1950s, marking the beginning of AI research as a field? John McCarthy, Marvin Minsky, or Alan Turing? Alan Turing. What was the world's first nuclear power station to generate electricity for a power grid? Obninsk Nuclear Power Plant, Calder Hall, or 3 Mile Island? Obninsk Nuclear Power Plant. Who is the only person to receive more than one unshared Nobel Prize? Albert Einstein, Marie Curie, or Linus Pauling? Linus Pauling. For what procedure Portuguese Antonio Egas Moniz won the Nobel Prize in Medicine in 1949? The procedure was later banned by the USSR in 1950 and now is illegal. Electroconvulsive therapy, lobotomy, or insulin shock therapy? Lobotomy. In what year was the first successful kidney transplant performed? 1954, 1957, or 1959? (1954). What was the name of the first primate and first mammal in space in 1949? Laika, Albert II, or Dolly? Albert II. What was the first commercially available computer released in 1951? The IBM 701, the UNIVAC 1, or ENIAC? The UNIVAC 1. Who invented the first practical synthetic diamond in 1955? Percy Spencer, Linus Pauling, or Tracy Hall? Tracy Hall. What was on July 1959 issue cover of National Geographic? The flag of the United States, the Statue of Liberty, or a polar bear? It was featured the first color photograph on the magazine cover. Let's take a look at the question again. July 1959. And it was the flag of the United States. In 1954, an 8.5-pound sulfide meteorite crashed through a roof and hit Mrs. Elizabeth Hodges in her living room. In which state did this happen? Texas, Alabama, or Ohio? Alabama. And let's move over to sports. World Curling Championships have been held annually since 1959 for men and since 1979 for women. With 36 men's and 18 women's titles, which country leads in both categories? Canada, Sweden, or the United States? Canada. What are the last names of the Canadian brothers Henri and Maurice, both Hockey Hall of Fame members who played their entire NHL careers with the Montreal Canadiens? Smith, Richard, or Johnson? Richard. Which car model dominated the NASCAR series from 1951 to 1953? The Hudson Hornet, the Ford Model T, or the Chevrolet Bel Air? The Hudson Hornet. What is the name of the British company founded in London in 1958 by Mike Costin and Keith Duckworth? Lotus, McLaren, or Cosworth? Cosworth. During the qualifications for the 1959 British Grand Prix, 4 drivers with the same surname appeared, all debutantes who never won a Formula One World Championship race. Which surname did they share? Taylor, Brooks, or Hill? Taylor. Who won the FIFA World Cup in 1950? Uruguay, Brazil, or Italy? Uruguay. Who is the oldest winner of the World Drivers' Championship? He was 46 years and 41 days old when he won the 1957 title. Giuseppe Farina, John Norman Surtees, or Juan Manuel Fangio? Juan Manuel Fangio. Who won the Wimbledon men's singles title in 1955? Tony Trabert, Rod Laver, or Ken Rosewall? Tony Trabert. Which boxer defeated Archie Moore to become the heavyweight champion in 1956? Rocky Marciano, Sonny Liston, or Floyd Patterson? Floyd Patterson. Which country hosted the Summer Olympics in 1952? Finland, Austria, or Spain? Finland. Which golfer won the Masters tournament in 1958 for the first time? Jack Nicklaus, Gary Player, or Arnold Palmer? Arnold Palmer. Which athlete won the Olympic gold medal in the men's 100 meters at the 1956 Melbourne Games? Bobby Morrow, Jesse Owens, or Luz Long? Bobby Morrow. Which team won the Stanley Cup in the NHL for the 1957-1958 season? The Montreal Canadiens, the Detroit Red Wings, or Toronto Maple Leafs? The Montreal Canadiens. Which team won the FA Cup in the 1954-1955 English football season? Arsenal, Manchester United, or Newcastle United? Newcastle United. Who was the NBA Rookie of the Year for the 1956-1957 season? Tom Heinsohn, Elgin Baylor, or Bill Russell? Tom Heinsohn. And let's move over to tourism terrain. Where were the United Nations headquarters built in 1952? Geneva, Paris, or New York? New York. Which country gained independence from British rule in 1957? India, Ghana, or Kenya? Ghana. Which canal opened in 1956? The Panama Canal, the Suez Canal, or the Corinth Canal? The Suez Canal. Which city was the capital of West Germany in the 1950s? Bonn, Berlin, or Munich? Bonn. Which U.S. state became the 49th state of the country in 1959? Hawaii, California, or Alaska? Alaska. Which country controlled Hong Kong during the 1950s? China, Japan, or the UK? The UK. What was the capital city of Brazil during the 1950s? Brasilia, Sao Paulo, or Rio de Janeiro? Rio de Janeiro. Which country controlled the Panama Canal Zone during the 1950s? Panama, the United States, or Mexico? The United States. Which Asian country was divided into North and South following World War II and remained divided? Korea, Vietnam, or Cambodia? Korea. Which country controlled East Germany during the 1950s? Italy, Poland, or the Soviet Union? The Soviet Union. Which African country gained independence from Belgium in 1960, but was a Belgian colony throughout the 50s? Rwanda, Burundi, or the Democratic Republic of the Congo? The Democratic Republic of the Congo. Which country controlled the Falkland Islands during the 50s? Argentina, the UK, or Chile? The UK. Which organization was established in 1955 as a military alliance of communist countries in Eastern Europe, disbanded in 1991? Warsaw Pact, OPEC, or SAATO? Warsaw Pact. Which international organization founded in 1958 promotes and facilitates peaceful international cooperation in outer space? The European Space Agency, NASA, or the United Nations Office for Outer Space Affairs? The United Nations Office for Outer Space Affairs. Which mountain located in the Karakoram Range was first successfully climbed in 1954? K2, Mont Blanc, or Aconcagua? K2. And for our mystery round, which continent did Sir Vivian Fox and Sir Edmund Hillary successfully cross via the South Pole in 1958? Africa, Australia, or Antarctica? Antarctica. Which three words are shared by Irving Stone's 1934 novel, Kirk Douglas's 1956 film, and Iggy Pop's album? Lust for life, desire for living, or life of passion? Lust for life. Who, after flying over Ireland in 1959, wrote the song 40 Shades of Green? Bob Dylan, Johnny Cash, or Elvis Presley? Johnny Cash. Which region of the Arctic Ocean did the USS Nautilus, the world's first nuclear-powered submarine, successfully navigate under ice in 1958? Bering Strait, Greenland Sea, or the North Pole? The North Pole. Which iconic toy introduced in 1959 became a sensation and remains popular today? Mr. Potato Head, Slinky, or Barbie? Barbie. Which American rock and roll legend released the hit song Rock Around the Clock in 1954? Chuck Berry, Ray Charles, or Bill Haley and his Comets? Bill Haley and his Comets. What landmark U.S. Supreme Court case in 1954 ruled that racial segregation in public schools was unconstitutional? Plessy versus Ferguson, Brown versus Board of Education, or Roe v. Wade? Brown versus Board of Education. Which famous American president was inaugurated in 1953 and served until 1961? Dwight D. Eisenhower, Harry Truman, or John F. Kennedy? Dwight D. Eisenhower. Which famous fast food restaurant chain was founded by Ray Kroc in 1955? Burger King, Wendy's, or McDonald's? McDonald's. And for our last question, which British author wrote the novel Lord of the Flies, published in 1954 about a group of boys stranded on an uninhabited island? William Golding, George Orwell, or Isaac Asimov? William Golding. For our bonus question, which country hosted the first FIFA World Cup held after World War II in 1950? Let us know the answer in the comments, and of course, your quiz class awards. Tell us how you ranked. As always, thanks for playing this quiz, and we will see you next time. Bye-bye.